Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm 24 years old. I am new to coaching. It is my first year in coaching and I'm doing it as well as studying my master's in theology currently. I also lead young people, so coaching has been incredible in that sense for me to take on. I chose coaching because it has been an incredible tool to be able to see how questions and leading people in a conversation can actually help bring such change to people's lives. I've chosen coaching also for the sake of being able to just be a better person to everyone I encounter. I'm a researcher, so asking questions is literally what I do and critically engage with conversations and topics. So coaching for me was another tool that I thought would be helpful in my life in all areas, but specifically with helping people. The Being Profile has been an incredible tool actually for the sake of thinking the way that challenges people to move forward in different areas of their lives. I feel like most of the time the generation currently breathing focus on exterior things, so what you're producing and what your life looks like, but I feel like the Being Profile actually looks at the underlying factors of how a person functions. So it's quite philosophical in its thinking, which I love because I genuinely believe that people do everything for a specific reason. The first time I experienced the Being Profile, I'd never heard about it before. I had not even heard about it in passing. I feel like there's many other tools out there that people use to specifically help people in coaching, but I'd never heard about ontological life coaching even. So yeah, the Being Profile was, for that reason, quite intriguing to me. Knowing that it was a tool for ontological life coaching, I think was really intriguing because there have been so many different profiles that people have used that focus really, again, on the exterior things. So it was quite interesting to see that someone or a team of people had put forward this tool that was going to look at the underlying thinking and ways of being in people. So I originally started getting coaching about 2 years ago with the Being Profile, and for me personally it actually released so many areas of breakthrough for me because I was finding that I was doing things so repetitively in my life, different ways of reacting to situations or how I was as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister, and I just felt like I'd been going back around the same mountain time and time again. And so my experience of being coached through the Being Profile, I found that it was actually so releasing for me because I got to the root of the things that I was doing in my life that I wasn't necessarily happy with. I felt like as well in my personal life, the Being Profile kind of led me to understand myself more and to understand the experience I had had that had shaped me as a person or had really formed the person I was becoming. So I actually also thought it was a pivotal time to start using the Being Profile in my personal life because as I'm developing as a young adult, I'm forming my ways of thinking, I'm forming my ways of being. And yeah, so my personal experience being coached through the profile was incredible. I guess I had tried different approaches in the way that I was trying to shape and frame my life, maybe through self-help books, personal leadership. I even studied personal leadership for 3 years. And I had still kind of never gotten to the underlying ways of being, in the depth that the Being Profile actually brought. So for me to be coached and have that trust with my coach for the last 2 years specifically in getting to those underlying things or those underlying ways of thinking and being, I think really released something for me that was different, I should say, to maybe getting help in other ways or looking at my actions and how I could change my daily habits versus how I could actually change my thinking and my ways of being. I think the most pivotal change that has come through the Being Profile for me personally has been the way I work in relationships and the way I work in friendships with my family members, with my friends, with the people I work with. I feel like I used to be quite stuck in this fear of how I would actually be in relationships, and instead, like, the Being profile has brought such a release to that way of thinking and allowed me to understand that my relationship with, say, vulnerability is actually, it can be a strength in my life if I process it the right way and if I think about it in the right way, versus how I had known my whole life how to operate in these types of relationships. I feel like when you work with the Being profile, you kind of get to this point where with every person that sits in front of you, there comes this like light bulb moment where they realize that what they were thinking actually doesn't line up with the way they're being. And so it leads them to this place of freedom, literally right in front of you, where you can see their mind working to kind of comprehend the fact that they've thought that they were one way in life, and that they were doing okay in an area that actually is the underlying issue for the areas that they feel stuck in. So as they start to comprehend that there's a few areas that just aren't lining up in their life and that there's simple changes that they can make, you watch the people in front of you just experience freedom in that moment, and a true sense of self. I remember one time I was coaching someone who is a leader in a lot of areas of her life, and we got to her assertiveness score and it was quite low, and she automatically made it wrong, but thought that the profile wasn't right and that it had just kind of mismatched her because she thought that she was the most assertive leader that she knew. We got to this point where she realized that her assertiveness was actually underlying passive aggressive because she wanted everyone to think the way that she wanted them to think. And so it was quite interesting. It was a light bulb moment for me watching someone in front of me actually understand the ways of her leadership and the way that she could actually become a better leader when she thought that she had reached a point of knowing how to lead really well. So for me, the Being Profile Accreditation program actually enabled me to understand how to put it into practice, because I'd always been on one side of the program, but being able to learn how to communicate things and the 2-day process was actually incredible. You got to work with other people, be in workshops, and practically learn how to communicate the areas of the profile that then you could go and use with other people. And the 10 complementary profiles have been incredible. I feel like they've given me a head start to be able to be the coach I want to be. So using the Being profile with those complementary profiles for me personally have been a really big step to become a better coach. If I'm honest, the Thrive Coach training program was quite daunting entering into it, because I realized that there were more people who had more life experience, and being quite young, I was a little bit intimidated by the other people in the room. However, it has actually provided such an incredible support system for me as a coach, and an accountability that I didn't realize I needed necessarily before I started. And just the life experience from everybody that is in my cohort has been one of the greatest tools to be able to be the coach I want to be. So learning from them every week, learning from them. I have a buddy through the Thrive Coach training program who keeps me accountable to the things I say I want to be and the person I want to be and what I want to do with that. And let alone the other people that you get to experience life with through this program. I think it's actually underestimated how much a group of people can help you be the person you want to be. So we came to this week in the Thrive Coach training program where we focused on forgiveness, and it was the most empowering session where we spoke and each came to this moment in our own lives where we experienced freedom because we had this new experience and this new relationship with the area of forgiveness in our lives. And as a part of a cohort that is so open and trustworthy with each other, I think it actually facilitated a place for me personally where I could look at the areas of my life where I hadn't reached the freedom or the level of freedom that I wanted to in forgiveness. And so watching that happen, not just in my life, but in everybody's lives in my cohort, it was such an empowering week and I will never forget it. And I'm so thankful that I got to be a part of that moment in time. When I started out as a coach, I was quite intimidated, and it was quite daunting entering into a whole different profession that, usually you hear people who are in this profession are later in life. They've got life experience under their belt that you kind of have a respect for. But I realized that as I got into it, that there's actually so much to offer if you can just have a conversation with someone that leads them to a place of freedom and to be able to unlock the things in their lives that they might feel stuck by. So specifically, Thrive Coach training for me gave me that experience. I was able to be coached by a whole range of different coaches and see how they facilitated these types of questions and conversations, let alone the ability to then be that for other people. And I think it gives you this incredible confidence when you can work with people who are also starting out in this journey, but also who have a little bit more life experience to offer you to learn from. And I can confidently say that if you're young and you're thinking about being a coach, that it's actually an incredible opportunity, because it's not just something that is a profession, but it actually allows you to be a better friend, a better human, a better daughter or a sister, whatever it might be for you. I feel like age is not a limit. Age is not a disability, I guess, into being an incredible coach, but it's actually all about how you approach it and all how you are open to learning, which this program gives you some incredible angles to learn from. One thing that I have personally gotten from this program and just from this journey, learning to be a coach, I have learned how to shape my ways of thinking and my ways of being, that I think as a young person is pivotal to actually become the person I want to be. It teaches me personally how to understand my own ways of thinking, my own ways of being, which then allows me to contribute that to the people in my world, let alone to clients, let alone to people who, are reaching out for this from professionals. I feel like the ability to be able to ask the right questions and to look deeper than your actions actually brings a whole new level of who you can be in this world. So for the coaches out there, I believe that the Being Profile is a tool that goes beyond people's way of just what they produce in life. This is something that will help you reach a new level of vulnerability with the people that you encounter and your clients or the people in your life. So I believe that this will actually help unlock a whole new level of coaching for you personally.